How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Edgework on the Hammer Betting Network. I'm Jason Cooper here hosting for Matt Russell and Todd Cordell. Alex Moretto unfortunately could not make it today. He's feeling a little bit under the weather. We hope he's doing well, but we're still going to go through Edge Rush today nonetheless. Todd, Matt, how's it going? Do you guys have any bets last night? How'd it go? Matt?
Well, clearly the Penguins got Alex Moretto. 5-2 lead last week. You'll recall we had the double best bets on the Penguins. They take a 3-goal lead, and of course Boston storms back, gets the win in overtime, and Alex, I believe, hasn't been seen since. If I'm not mistaken.
That is true, yes.
Right? They got him. He's out literally in a dumpster somewhere. Listen, we can predict 3-goal leads apparently, but we can't. Anybody can just take a 3-goal lead. What you got to do is hold the 3-goal lead, and the Pittsburgh Penguins weren't able to do that for us last week. I had 2 bets yesterday. They split. I had a couple of large-ish underdogs that I showed value on. St. Louis lost. Thought we might be able to get into overtime, maybe a shootout, and kind of steal one there in Boston. That game was 1-1 with about 7 minutes to go before Boston scored. And then the Washington Capitals actually came through. Alex Ovechkin doing between the leg ridiculous passes. Loved every second of I shouldn't say a rare night, because obviously Ovechkin shows up all the time, but those nights when, especially in the regular season, where Ovechkin really feels like it, those are always really fun to watch.
Yeah, and he had a great move there too. He almost scored. It was he put, I think it was Evan Bouchard in an absolute blender, dangled him, but he just couldn't get that finish towards the end. Would have been a highlight reel goal, but it's all good. Todd, do you have any? I know you definitely had player props last night. How did they go?
Yeah, I went 2 and 3 on the props. It was a bit disappointing. Tarasenko only got 2. The Flames got 500 shots against the Islanders, and Kadri only had 2. So it was a little disappointing on the props, but we're gonna rebound today, hopefully.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. And guys, at the end of the show, we will get into the player props, our best bets for the night. We got a big slate today, and that's why today, guys, we are gonna switch things up a bit. Usually what we like to do is recap last night's games and then preview tonight's games. But because we have such a big card and had so few games last night, we're just going to dive directly into it. All right, guys. So if you're watching over on Twitter, come check us out on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. You guys can comment and interact with us, just like Connor over here, letting Todd know how much he loves the Devils. Anyways, we're going to get into tonight's games to start. And the game that everyone's kind of looking at and talking about, Toronto and Vegas, I guess Vegas is one of the best teams in the West right now. Toronto has been struggling, but have looked to bounce back. Samsonov and Murray are both out for them. They're missing their starting goalies. It looks like Shalgren's probably going to be in net, and Thompson will be in net for Vegas. Matt, I know you wanted to talk about this game a lot, so I'll let you take it away.
I did, because I'm dancing with, not the Devils, we'll get to that. I'm dancing with the sort of, the quasi-devil here. Yeah, that's right.
Devils of the NHL.
And Todd can tell me why I'm horrifically wrong. And honestly, the market's kind of telling me why I'm horrifically wrong here. I'm on the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight, and I honestly made a bad bet already. I bet them at minus 125 last night, and people are going to reference the goaltending thing. Okay, maybe people feel really, really strongly about Samsonov. Are any of these guys a really good option for the Toronto Maple Leafs at this point? Or any of these guys go well, I have to have him in net, or I refuse to wager on the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's not really the case here, right? And so, it's kind of a bigger picture conversation, but when it comes to goaltenders in one-off situations, and Leafs fans know this, having gotten beaten by a Zamboni driver in the past, one game situation, as long as it's a professional goaltender, and again, sometimes if it's a Zamboni driver, as long as it's a professional goaltender, I'm fine with trying it for one game. Now, do we necessarily love that we're going up against a team that's 11-2 so far this season, and Alex Moretto would be rolling over in his grave? He loves the Golden Knights and would hate this pick for other reasons, of course. Todd, tell me why I'm wrong here. Does the goaltending thing really make a difference? He's going to come in. This is his, I don't want to say one chance to sort of, be amazing. That's, if you're a backup goaltender, if you're a professional backup goaltender in the NHL, right? And again, with a pretty good team, by the way, who if they actually sort of put their mind to it, can limit some shots on goal here by playing good offense. We talked last week about good offense sometimes being the best defense. At this price, We're never going to get like the Leafs as a home underdog by any stretch of the imagination. Though honestly, if you wait a few more hours, maybe we do. But at this price, I have to take the Maple Leafs and like hate myself for it. But at the same time, like value is value here. And I'm seeing honestly like 3% worth of value here on the Toronto Maple Leafs when, as a favorite, that's a bet I have to make.
Yeah, I really like this Leafs team. I think both teams are really good. I'm not like this is an anti-Leafs bet or anything like that. I've just been so impressed with Vegas. They're 8-2 in the last 10 games and have controlled nearly 60% of the high danger chances in that stretch, which is only behind the Devils. The Leafs are 9th in the league during that time, which is still good. But I have the Golden Knights a little deeper. I think they're a little better up front when you get to the depth lines. I also like their blue line better. And obviously, Shalgren, as you mentioned, it's not like Samsonov and Matt Murray are world beaters. And you're like, oh, no, they have no chance. It's nothing like that. But Shalgren, he played pretty well this weekend, actually, but prior to that, he let up 3 or more goals in each game this season. He posted an .888 save percentage a year ago. And also, I just really like what I've seen with Logan Thompson. I'm assuming he's starting for Vegas tonight. He's one of the league leaders in goals saved above expected thus far. He's plus 5.4. So I just think the Vegas is a little better at 5-5 right now, and they have an edge in goal. So I'll just roll with the hot team at even money.
And that's fair enough here. Logan Thompson, obviously, I'm going to say friend of the show because he went to Brock and so did Matt. So let's say Logan Thompson, friend of the show here. Looks like Todd will be supporting him there. And Leafs are going to be interesting tonight to see Shalgren in net. But anyways, moving on to the next game, we have St. Louis going up against Philadelphia. St. Louis coming off a back-to-back. The Philadelphia Flyers have been dealing with tons of injuries this year. Couturier out, JVR out, Atkinson out. Looks like Greiss is probably starting for St. Louis with the back-to-back. Carter Hart obviously starting for Philadelphia. Todd, you got any play on this game or any lean?
I don't have a side. As much as I'd love to play the Blues, they've just been so depressingly bad this year. Like, there's nothing really in the numbers that suggests like they're any good right now. Normally in the past, they've been a team that kind of like plays even in chances, but they just finish at such a high rate. They have great passers like Robert Thomas. They have great finishers like Tarasenko. But right now, they're not really creating chances. They're giving up a lot. The goaltending kind of sucks. And I've been burned against the Flyers a lot this year. I still don't think they're any good whatsoever, but I'm not racing to bet Thomas Greiss in a back-to-back situation. The one bet I did make, I bet Justin Falk over 2.5 shots at plus 106, I believe. He leads the Blues in attempts over the last 10 games. The Flyers are giving up a lot of shot volume each night, especially to defensemen. So I like Justin Falk tonight.
Yeah, I was on St. Louis last night, but I was getting plus 180, right? Like that's not what this is, right? This is essentially laying a price with the Blues on the road. I have the Blues winning this game 51.8% of the time, which means I'm going to need plus money to bet the Blues here. That's not what we're getting here. I'm seeing, minus 115s, minus 120s the last I looked. So I think this line's pretty fair, and it's not really a game I need to get involved in.
Fair enough. Well, we'll just skip along to the next game then. On my list, we have Arizona at Buffalo. A little interesting price action here. Just as we got on the show, Arizona at Pinnacle, at least in Canada, jumped up to plus 200, and Buffalo sitting at minus 192 at Bet99. So there's a bit of an arb there if you're looking for that. Dahlin, day-to-day, he missed last game. We're not sure if he's going to play tonight. It seems like a game-time decision. Kirill Vejmelka in, Eric Comrie likely in. Let's go with Matt on this one. What do you think?
Well, it's funny you said that as the price jumps up to plus 200, and I immediately was like, oh no, please make sure that's not a bet on the Arizona Coyotes. Thankfully, it's still not quite a bet on the Arizona Coyotes. I'm going to need plus 215 to show value on the Arizona Coyotes. So maybe that means Dahlin, ends up being out, in, and that price gets adjusted. Honestly, I kind of hope he's out so I can get a better handle on what he means to a money line and a win probability, right? If he's out and all of a sudden I see, 3-4% value on the Arizona Coyotes, and that's going to tell me, oh man, okay, that's what his existence, him being in the lineup, that's what that means to a price. And with some of these high impact younger players, I kind of want to get a better handle on what they mean from a market standpoint. So again, thankfully, we're still a little ways away from having, quote unquote, to bet on the Coyotes. So I'm just going to for now say I'm not going to bet on the Coyotes, but interested to see where this price ends up, whether or not Dahlin gets to play or not, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I don't have a play right now. I was hoping Connor Ingram was going to start, and then I could play the Sabres in regulation. But as of right now, I have no play. If I did play something, though, it would be Sabres in regulation. Dahlin is a game-time decision, but I saw a few minutes ago that it's looking likely he's going to play. The Sabres are much better at 5-5, not because they're anything special, but just because the Coyotes are the worst team in the league. The Sabres are at home, obviously. They have much more talent. Eric Comey's playing well. So if I were to play anything, it would be the Sabres in regulation at -135. In terms of player props, I played Tage Thompson over 3.5 shots at +110. That's one of my favorite bets, side or prop of the night. He was amazing at home last year. This year, he's got 44 shot attempts and 27 shots over his last 4 home games. Coyotes give up the most shots in the league to centers. So plus money for 3.5 shots. I really like that.
I like that angle. Tage Thompson's been on a heater this year as well, continuing his success from last year. All right, we'll move on to the next game. We got the Battle of New York Islanders against the New York Rangers. Varlamov is looking likely to be the starter. Maybe they have a back-to-back. They have another game tomorrow. And Shesterkin probably starting for the Rangers. Last time they played each other's Islanders won 3-0. Todd, what do you think about this game?
I like the Rangers in regulation at close to even money. They've kind of been spinning their wheels a little bit lately. They've only got 3 wins in the last 9 games. But in terms of expected goals, they're 7th in the league during that stretch. The problem is that only has turned into 38% of the actual goals. Their shooting percentage is 31st during that stretch, which I don't think is going to last. They have a lot of talent up front, obviously. And I think Yaroslav Halak's been a big problem for them. He's lost every single start. They're obviously a much different team when Shesterkin's in net. And as you mentioned, Varlamov's expected start. Sorokin's one of the best goalies in the league. He can cover up a lot of the Isles' defensive mistakes, which honestly there are a lot of. They give up high danger chances, the 24th in the last 9 games. So I think the Rangers are going to generate quite a few tonight, and Varlamov is just not as good of a bet to save them as Sorokin. So I like the Rangers in regulation.
Nice. Matt, what do you think?
That's interesting. I was just kind of looking at the, I wasn't paying attention to the Islanders Flames game. Is the one game I didn't have a bet on last night. So I was kind of just going back and going like, oh, wait, who started last night? Kind of a tricky spot for the Isles, right? It's back-to-back, but it's not travel. And having won that game in overtime yesterday, kind of a bit tough, to kind of get up for that game the very next night. Now, obviously, sort of the intra-city rivalry element to it. I don't have any, value on this necessarily. I have this 60-40 for the Rangers to win the game. So I don't necessarily see the value in the -170, but if you start adding a couple of win probability sort of percentages towards the Rangers because of the Islanders, not necessarily playing last night, because again, I have 3% sort of built in for that already. But if you add a couple extra percent there because they won, because they went to overtime, all that kind of thing, I kind of get that. Obviously, the goaltending element as well. But I think it's worth mentioning, Todd, that's 2 straight in regulation bets that you're talking about there. And I like those as an alternative because, especially with a favorite, because you're not really relying on the shootout or overtime, right? Like you're not making a bet on a favorite going like, man, I'm probably going to need the shootout or overtime to kind of bail me out. And I just talked about like watching that Blues game yesterday going like, yeah, they're clearly not better than the Boston Bruins, but maybe I get lucky and we go to a shootout and I can kind of, if you've got plus, 150, 200, whatever in 3-on-3 overtime or a shootout, you're going, okay, like this is a pretty 50-50 type of deal. That's not what you want when you have the favorite. So honestly, you might as well just take some of the price off 30, 40, 50 cents and go with it in regulation. So if you see value in a big favorite like that, honestly, you might as well just take the regulation bet there because you kind of weren't looking for it to go to overtime or a shootout anyway.
I love that. That's a great betting angle, especially in the NHL where 3-on-3 overtime is like, it seems like a lot different than any other sport would be for overtime, right? Because the 3-on-3 much more high pace, much more action. So I love that betting angle. That's very interesting. I never thought about that. On to the next game. We have Montreal, Detroit. Montreal is playing Vancouver tomorrow. So it looks like Allen is starting for them tonight. Ville Husso likely in. Detroit's been dealing with a ton of injuries this year, have been on the wrong side of the injury luck. Bertuzzi, Verana, Sundqvist, Zadina now likely out long-term. Matt, any play on this game?
This is right down the middle for me as far as it's a negative play on Detroit. It's a negative play on Montreal, at least at the sort of numbers that I've got populated here, with Montreal around plus 150 and Detroit around minus 170. Do you want anything to do with Detroit, like laying wood like that? It feels like a position that you don't want to be involved in with Detroit. I was on them on Saturday, felt pretty fortunate, even though they, won with a shutout against the Islanders, I believe it was. So happy to get the win with the Red Wings there. I'm going to just melt back into the corner here, sort of Homer Simpson into the hedge here and let everybody else play this game. Montreal seems valuable. I certainly would kind of understand why that would be the play here. I think Todd may be on the Habs here, but to me, this is no play.
Yep, I'm on Montreal. I got them at plus 150 on Bet365. I just think Detroit is getting a little too much credit here. Obviously, Montreal is nothing special at all. They're not good. But over the last 7 games, Detroit's expected goals for percentage is 43%, which is in the same company as Columbus, Chicago, Arizona, those kind of garbage bottom of the basement teams. As you mentioned, there's no Bertuzzi, there's no Vrana, there's no Zadina. The forward depth is thin. The defense still sucks outside of Seider. I think the Habs obviously have some firepower at the top of the lineup. They can convert on some of the chances they'll get. And I also like Jake Allen quite a bit. So I'm happy to take the Habs here at plus 150.
I love that. Looks like best bet on the board right now is plus 147 at Botano. You can still get them at plus 145 at Bet365 as well, which is where Todd bet them. On to the next game, Todd. I know you're going to love this one. I know you want to talk about this one for sure. Calgary at New Jersey. Calgary's coming off an OT loss to the Islanders last night. Vlader's probably Vlader will be in net for Calgary against Vanacek. We talked about it a bit earlier last week and weeks before. If this Devils team can just get the goaltending, they'll be on the right track, and then bang, Blackwood out. So, Todd, what do you think about Vanacek, and what do you think about the Devils in general here?
I like the Devils. I played them yesterday at minus 115. I was all set to sit out. I was thinking they were going to get a lot of market respect, with all the wins they've been getting lately. And I also didn't really want to jump in against Calgary because I still think they're good and they've lost 400 games in a row. So I was hoping to sit this out, but I had to play the numbers. The Devils, they're still first in the league in expected goals for percentage, high danger chances percentage, all that stuff. Their Vanacek's playing much better. His save percentage actually, despite being on a bit of a heater, is only exactly where it was the last 2 years. So he's where he should be, and the Devils are piling up the wins. They don't need great goaltending. They just need decent, and he's giving them that. The big thing for me, though, is Vladar for Calgary. Dating back to last year, he's 56th out of 60 in high danger chance save percentage, and the Devils generate more high danger chances than everybody in the league. And Calgary's in the latter half of a road back-to-back, so I don't think they're going to play an airtight game. This is a spot where the Devils should be able to skate them into the ground a little bit. And I just don't think Vladar is going to bail them out. So I played the Devils at minus 115 last night.
Surprise, surprise, Todd's on the Devils. And I'm right there with them tonight. What is minus 115, by the way, as an opening price for this? That is ludicrous. My fair price is minus 140. So there's some minus 130s, minus 133 here. Yeah, absolutely. And you're going to tell me that the backup goaltender is in for the Flames, and one of the few teams for me that the backup goaltender actually is a significant downgrade in a one-game situation from Markstrom, of course. Yes, all of it. I mean, Todd, you had the announcement. I believe it was over the weekend, right? Wagon status for the New Jersey Devils.
Yeah, they are wagon.
They are, in fact, a wagon. Let's keep the wagon going. I'm going to jump in the wagon. I got a spittoon and one of those bottles that has the X's on it because, apparently that meant alcohol way back when. Yeah, let's do it, man. Both in on the Devils here. Anything under minus 140, I should say minus 135 for me is absolutely a play. And minus 115 is just abjectly ridiculous. I don't know how that was an opening line, but good for you for hopping on that, Todd.
Nice stuff. And looking at BetStamp, you can find betstamp.app or find it in the App Store. Just search BetStamp. They're a great odds screen. Looks like minus 120 is best bet right now at Bet99 if you're in Canada. And it's hovering around minus 135 for the Devils. Bet365 has it. DraftKings has it minus 130. So there's still value there if you want to get a play in on the Devils. It's still not too late, even though it's always better to bet early. But yeah, if you're watching the show and you like it, why not tail us? All right, moving on to the next game, we have Vancouver against Ottawa. Two struggling teams, kind of bottom of the barrel. Is there any interesting sides you guys have for this one, Matt? Any side you're looking at in particular, or?
I'm playing a wait and see approach here. If we can get up to plus 120, that's what I need to back the Canucks here. I'm seeing plus 114 over at one site. I think it's probably a little bit lower than that in a lot of others. So I don't know that we're necessarily going to get here with the Canucks, but plus 120 would be a bet for me on Vancouver. No value in Ottawa in any real shape or form. Hopefully Todd's not going to just tell me that that's ridiculous and he loves the Senators. Todd, what do you think?
No, I don't have a play. I don't have a play on either side in this game. My one thing was I played Alex DeBrincat for over 3.5 shots. With Josh Norris out, he's playing on the top power play and the second power play, so he's getting way more minutes than anyone else. He's the go-to shooter on both units. He shoots a lot of even strength. He plays with the pass first center and Derek Brassard, who all they can do is pass. So I like DeBrincat. He's had a lot of success at home this year for shooting. And I think he'll get good matchups and generate a lot of shots again tonight. I think I got him minus 110, minus 115, something like that. But I would play to minus 130.
Nice. Good info there. Good info there. Yeah, not really. And I'm sure with all these games on, many people probably.
Uh-oh. Did we lose him?
Did we lose Jason?
It's like we got a.
Oh, we got back. We got back.
Am I back? Am I good?
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah,
okay.
sorry.
Well, okay, we're good. We're good. All right. Sorry. Moving on to the marquee matchup of the night, Edmonton against Tampa. Vazzy and net. Campbell likely to start after Skinner started yesterday for them on the back-to-back. A lot more of a fun game than the Vancouver-Ottawa one that we were just talking about. Matt, any side on this game?
I don't have anything here. I think it's a little bit more fair on Edmonton. In fact, it's dead even in fairness. I have this Tampa Bay winning this game 59% of the time, 41 obviously for Edmonton. 41% equals a plus 143 money line, which is about where it is right now. Now, if this kind of shot up, I would like to bet on Edmonton here, especially, kind of having burned the backup goaltender last night. We've talked about that in the past. When teams do that, they sort of have more of an eye on, the second game. And I think that's fair. You're going from playing Washington to Tampa Bay. Now it kind of burned them last night, right? Where they went and lost that game. So a little bit different than the Islanders situation, right? Where you've just played this, extra time type game the night before. This one's like, oh man, we lost. I don't know that they're blaming the backup goaltender necessarily, as we talked about. Like Ovechkin was not to be stopped apparently last night. So I'd love to bet on Edmonton here. You're getting a really good price. I just don't quite have the value just yet here on the Oilers.
Yeah, I didn't play either side yet, but I'm going to dive into power play points, I think, later on. Both these penalty kills have really struggled. The Oilers are giving up a ton of power play goals. The Lightning have some of the worst defensive metrics in the league, killing penalties this year. So both teams are lethal on the power play, and I could see myself getting involved with some power play point markets.
Love it. Going to keep an eye on that then for that Edmonton Tampa Bay game. Keep an eye on the power play points. All right. Up next, we have three games left, and we're going to get into our best bets. If you guys want to head over to YouTube right now, hit the subscribe button, watch us, interact with us in the comments. You can comment along, and we'll see it, and we can bring you up on screen. But moving on from there, we're going to head to Dallas and Winnipeg. Scott Wedgwood has been covering for Jake Ottinger, who's been hurt. He's looked okay. Likely going up against Hellebuck. The Winnipeg Jets, there's a bit of a surprise this year. They have 7 wins. A little early to start, though, so we'll keep expectations lukewarm on them. Todd, I know you had to play on this game, so I'll let you lead.
Yeah, I played the Dallas Stars last night at minus 106. I believe it's minus 115 range right now, so I still have a small edge there. Basically, I still don't think the Jets are very good. Connor Hellebuck's just been unreal, which is fair. He's part of the team. That's what he does. But the Stars have been playing really well at both ends of the ice. The Jets 26th in expected goal share over the last 10 games. I think the Stars are going to control the run of play here. And if Hellebuck doesn't stand on his head, I think the Stars are going to win this. So I was happy to play them at near even money.
We're mano a mano tonight, Todd. That usually does not go well for me, especially in pick'em game type situations. I have a little bit better luck when it comes to long shots or large underdogs. You obviously got the best of the number. You have, part of the crew that has bumped this up, which now means it's a bet on for me at plus 105. So, we've sort of have this 50-50 synthetical hold thing going here with Todd at minus 105, me at plus 105. That's still, I think, widely available here on the Jets. I think Ottinger matters. He's one of the few guys, again, we've hit on a couple of them here that do. And it's funny, right? Like the Jets, we just spent like the last, I think, 4 years of people trying to tell us that the Jets were good when Connor Hellebuck was stealing games for them and their 5-on-5 play was mediocre. And then they would get into the playoffs and, people would be surprised that they somehow lost. And it was like, no, actually, this team was never really that good in the first place. And now it's completely flipped where it's like, oh, now like this team's awful. And it's like all kind of fundamentally the same guys and the same recipe with Connor Hellebuck kind of stealing the show. And as Todd mentioned, he's part of the team. He's actually maybe the most important part of the team. So in this case, I'll go to the sort of goaltender matchup here, getting the home underdog and take the Jets at plus 105.
I like that. And right now it's minus 114 at Bet99 for Dallas, plus 105 still available on CoolBet for Winnipeg. 2 more games left. We'll go through these ones quickly. Nashville, Seattle. McCann is hurt. Both teams are relatively healthy. Other than that, Martin Jones looks like he's starting against Saros. Todd, any play on this game?
I didn't play either team. What I did was I played Oliver Bjorkstrand for over 2.5 shots. He has 31 the last 10 games. He's generating a lot of shot attempts. And Nashville gives up a lot of shots to the wing, especially. So I think this is a good spot for Bjorkstrand at home to get some shots.
Give me the Preds here, plus 105. I have them winning this game 51.5% of the time. So if you're going to give me a price that suggests that they lose the game 51.5% of the time, or do some quick mathematics and say there's 3% worth of value there, that's good enough for me on kind of a coin flip game. Preds plus 105. Pleased that Saros is in. Again, I think we're getting the an underdog price on a team that's more likely to win the hockey game.
Fair enough. And our last game, we have the Minnesota Wild against the LA Kings. This looks like a coin flip game right here. Looks like best price on the board, minus 103 for the Wild at CoolBet, minus 109 for the Kings at Bet99. Matt, take us away.
Well, spoiler alert, best bet of the night right here. Get excited, Jason. We're going to the Kings. And now this number, especially now that this number is close to pick 'em. This is a game that I have the Kings winning this game close to 54% of the time for getting around even money here. That's good value on the quote unquote. I guess they're technically not the favorite as they kind of switch back and forth here, toggling from minus 103 to minus 109 and back again. But yeah, give me the Kings here. Again, the Wild have not been particularly impressive this season. Of course, neither have the Kings, but little home ice advantage element here. That sort of flips things to the Kings being the favorite in my mind. And we're getting a price that's obviously, closer to a coin flip. So give me the Kings here as my best bet of the night.
I don't have literally
Todd?
anything in this game. I don't have a player prop. I don't have a
Todd's going to bed early.
I don't have anything. This is the one game. It's just like, oh, nothing. I don't see value really anywhere. I do if Jonathan Quick starts, I do like the Kings a little more than if Cal Peterson starts, but I still don't have a play right now. The line will have to move a bit for me to get involved.
That should be in their team program, right? That they hand out at the game every day. If Jonathan Quick's in, you like this team better. If Peterson is in, you kind of don't. So we're hoping for Jonathan Quick. I think he'd forget to start, but
yeah, I would think so too, but you never know.
All right, well, that wraps up all 11 games, guys. We're going to head into our best bets right now. Matt already teased the first one a bit, but before we get into our best bets, we're going to hit some player props and maybe potentially a long shot if Matt has another one for us like he did last week. So, Todd, let's lead us off for some your favorite player prop of the night.
My favorite player prop is probably Tage Thompson, just because the Coyotes give up so many shots, especially the centers, and Thompson is a beast at home. But I will give you something a little different, and I'll go to Jack Hughes as well. He shot a lot more last year than the year prior, and then this year there's been another big bump. He's 11th in the league in shots per 60 minutes. He has hit in 5 or 6 home games thus far. He's generating a lot of attempts. He had 7 shots against the Flames last time out, and that was with the Flames controlling the matchups. So I like Hughes to have another big shooting night tonight.
Love it. And you can find that plus 100 at CoolBet at over 3.5. We'll lock that in right here. Matt, any long shot for us here? I know you're not the most, you don't like to deal too much with player props. So any.
Normally we steer into this thing, right? Where we're driving into these, 2-3 long shots. What an electric Tuesday night, finished off with the Kraken making the comeback against the Flames last Tuesday night for a plus 200 winner there. But honestly, the choices here, there's so many pick'em games, which is fun because it means I'm not like hating myself as I'm hitting all these, bets on these plus 175 teams, kind of like I did last night. There are so many pick'em games. There's not really that much to choose from. I mentioned how like Edmonton might be the closest one. Honestly, just on sort of brand and quality alone, if you're going to get a plus 140, like with the Oilers, like I kind of don't care who you're playing or what the circumstance is. But the other ones, as mentioned, right, I'm going to need a lot more when it comes to the Arizona Coyotes. I don't really want to step in front of the Coyote train, if you will. Again, we talked about the Islanders and the Rangers. There's not anything for me there with the Islanders unless that moves up a great deal. I'll let Todd play the Canadians there and sort of support him in that. But, I've got 5 bets here on all kind of in that like favorite pick'em, short underdog type of mode. That's going to be enough for me. I know that's disappointing. We don't get some ugly, hideous dog that we get to bet on each Tuesday. Trust me, there will be a lot more, not just next Tuesday, but between now and the next time we're on this show.
Oh yeah, and also like you said earlier, what was the number you'd play Arizona up to? Because they're at plus 212 right now, so you might. It looks like you might maybe be stepping in front of that train. It's been moving up as the show's been going on, so maybe you will. Who knows? Anyways, let's get into our best bets. Matt, you teased it earlier. Let's just lock it in here. What was it again?
Yeah, absolutely. Kings. I've got this being a play for me at basically minus 110 or better. You can find plenty of that out there, I think. With the Kings. I'm watching you work the screen here. Yeah, there's a bunch of minus 105s, et cetera, et cetera. If you're just going to kind of ride the market and sort of go and see where it ends up, you don't necessarily have to make this bet right this second because it does seem to be drifting towards the Wild, and maybe you can get something with a plus in front of it. But like I said, anything better than minus 110 on the Kings is my best bet of the evening.
Minus 105s seem to be here and there. Looks like you can get it at minus 106 is Pinnacle as well. Todd, best bet of the game?
Well, this is crazy considering I was planning on not even betting them, but I still like the Devils. I see there's minus 120 still available, which I would have a pretty good edge on still. They just generate so many chances, and Vladar sucks against high danger chances, and the Flames.
Oh, did you lose Todd?
Oh, we lost Todd.
I also really like Vegas.
Oh, he's back.
Oh, I've been back?
Yeah, you're back, buddy.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Yeah, I like the Devils. They're generating a ton of high danger chances. Vladar sucks against them. I still have a big edge there. And then I'll go with Vegas as well. They're just playing really, really well at 5-5 right now. The Leafs got a couple big wins against the Bruins and Hurricanes. This seems like maybe a bit of a letdown spot. So give me the Golden Knights.
If there's one thing you can bank on, it's the Leafs letting their fans down. So I love that spot right there. All right. Well, that wraps it up for today's show, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into Tuesday's Edge Work. You can find Matt Russell and Todd Cordell, both their work at thescore.com, or you can find it in the Score app. And you can also find them on Twitter at mrussauthentic, at Todd Cordell. And I'm Jason Cooper signing off for Matt and Todd. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and good luck on all your